Battlestar Galactica Deadlock was requested by Patreon subscriber Splinter 00S. I think I forgot to say that. Whoops. Oh no, I procrastinated. I got all distracted by those fast, shooty, tooty, no-thinky games where you just hop in and just go. And I took all the games that are like large-scale strategy games that probably have an hour of tutorial at the beginning, and I procrastinated for those until the end of the month. So now I have 3 strategy games to play back to back, at least 2 of which are 4X games. We'll see. These can be an awkward fit in the Let's Try format because they're games that you pretty much never stop learning until you're like sometimes 5-10 hours in. In some of the cases, the strategy games I try to do a Let's Try of, I stick around for like an hour and we still don't even finish the tutorial sometimes, so we'll see. I actually don't see maybe it's in the campaign. Deadlock and Broken Alliance, Sin and Sacrifice. Here's where I say I don't know anything about Battlestar Galactica. Like, basically anything. I think this is the one that has robot clones that are imposters. That's one of the only things I think I forgot what they're called. They're not replicants because that's Battlestar Galactica. They're not synths because that's Fallout. But there's another word that is this universe's replacement people or whatever, be they aliens or robots. Mainly because I never really got around to the show, although I kept hearing that the new I think there was an old Battlestar Galactica and a new Battlestar Galactica that might have both just been called the same thing. And I think I've heard the new one can be good, but it has some really jump the shark moments in later seasons or something, like a musical episode that had mixed responses. But for me, the big draw was that there's a really cool really cool sounding Battlestar Galactica board game I've never gotten to play yet, where it's like little like you're like the crew in a game like FTL, where you're all on a ship together and trying to maintain the whole thing and make it not explode and solve problems and do quests and whatnot. But halfway through the game, well, what happens is everyone draws a roll card blindly, like in Resistance, so someone might be a spy, someone might be the replicant or whatever they're called, from the very beginning of the game, but there might not be a single one. But you're suspicious because you don't know if there might be one or there might not be one. But then in part 2 of the game, when you're like halfway through the campaign or something, everyone draws roll cards again, and then someone else will become replaced by the evil faction. And so if there wasn't one in the first half, there definitely is one in the second half, and if there was one in the first half, then there's more of them in the second half, and they're actively trying to sabotage the crew's attempts to solve problems, but they have to act like they're not. And I'm like, that sounds so fucking cool to play, but I've never had the chance, and I don't know if I ever will. Tabletop games are hard to organize, as it turns out. Tutorials! I found the tutorials. Anyway, that was just my aside about what I know about Battlestar Galactica. It's just that I just know that about another media prop thing that's based on Battlestar Galactica that is not the original thing, but is just a board game, but I want to play it. Unfortunately, tabletop games have been murdered on the altar of COVID. Use WASD or arrow keys to move the camera. No one uses arrow keys. How dare you? To rotate, use right mouse button, or Q and E. Click on the unit's projection to move the unit. Boop. Boop. Do I click twice? Oh. Adjust the projection's elevation and yaw. Too much yaw will cause engine stress and reduce the unit's maneuverability next turn. Oop. You can choose how high up or down it is. So I assume that yaw refers to its orientation, because I don't know boating terms and whatnot, but it looks like this up and down is how you change the height, which is pretty straightforward. And then you're changing how much it can turn, and if you make it turn too rapidly, then you're gonna damage your ship a bit. I don't really know where I'm trying to go, so I'm just gonna go forward. Yeah, I assume that, I guess that's my goal over there, right? This looks like it might be a riff on the, there was like a Star Wars X-Wing tabletop game where you would like do turn-based combat where you moved everybody around on tiles like this, on like particular trajectories each turn, and like the movement itself and the freedom tied to that was like a lot of like what went into the combat. Combat's divided into command phases and simulation phases. All units resolve their movements simultaneously. Use good spacing to prevent fatal collisions. Click the end turn button to proceed. Well, shouldn't I tell that guy what to do? No? Okay. So there's like a tad of, what do you call it going on here? Oop, there's a guy. A little bit of a frozen synapse. Everyone on your turn gets these like manually selected actions. Focus fire. Right click on a unit or select it and press space to access ship command. Use the turrets. Ah. Firing arcs determine if an enemy unit is within range of a ship's turrets. Use the focus fire ability to target a specific enemy with greater precision. Focus fire? Why would you not focus fire? Is it otherwise just a shoot wherever you feel like kind of situation, or? Okay. Okay, so he keeps moving.
Solution updated. Target acquisition maintained.
So this is your incentive to work on your yaw. Because you're always moving, which is why they talked about having spacing where you avoid collisions. A hostile unit becomes identified when it falls within a friendly unit's radius range? D-radius? Identified units can be targeted with guided munitions. Once identified, select an enemy unit to see its data. Sup, that's Nemesis. Hull 45, Nemesis Hull 45. I got Manticore's got 60. So we have a clear advantage here numerically. I never actually fired my other gun, I don't think.
Yes, Commander.
Let's see about this other ability. This is how I... There we go. I don't really know. I'm not massively aware of my goal with the yaw, but I guess that when I'm in certain combat situations, making a certain part of the ship face them is my goal.
Missiles incoming.
Because if we talk about all like the those are gonna hit my teammate.
Manticore is taking damage.
Okay, they went under him. Oh, cool. They can take like multiple turns to reach their goal, which is kind of neat. Like it still pauses after a few seconds, no matter what. This is an interesting take on like pause and play, turn-based combat sort of thing. But yeah, I think about the various like boat and tank games I've played, and that vehicles often in games have this incentive for you to have specific parts of the ship face the enemy at given times, because you might be having the most armored or healthy part of your ship facing them and whatnot. At the moment, I don't want to crash into this guy, so let's go towards his back. Because I said I don't know about boats, but I kind of actually know a little bit about boats. So I have driven a boat before. And ATVs and a few other things. And thankfully we have like an axis here, so I can like all the more avoid.
Yes, Commander.
But generally speaking, if everyone's moving and if everyone's always moving forward, because you're driving vehicles that pretty much always move forward, you want to steer towards the back side of the vehicle or where the vehicle currently is, because then their movement will carry them out of the way. Whereas if you steer towards the direction they're going in, then that's how you collide. But also we have an entire extra axis here, so it doesn't really matter. I guess it's a y-axis. I always mix up which one you call which sometimes in 3D spaces. But I guess Y is verticality. Okay, so they want me to... Oh, you want me to repair him from within himself. Gotcha. Okay. Select the damaged tech bay subsystem to repair it. Only one subsystem can be repaired at a time. Okay. Hull and armor points cannot be repaired mid-mission. Just health, which is different apparently. We have hull and armor and health. Good luck figuring out.
System repairs underway.
Those almost interchangeable sounding names. There's many types of health when you are spaceship. Do I now control you, by the way? What if I just collide directly into this guy? I'll show you repairs. I'm a bad person. Who are you targeting right now, by the way? The one that I can't see, basically? Cool. Let's have you target... Ooh! There's a back cone. Cancel target? Focus fire. The guy I can actually see, please. Thank you. The other guy's just flying away. One of them's gonna collide this round, are you sure? Yay! I want to see a collision. It's the tutorial. Let's do it.
Incoming!
Subsystem is back online.
Oh, we didn't collide. Ah, I somehow fucked up and this guy's movement path reset. Whoops.
Understood.
That really hurt my ability to shoot at that guy. I guess that when I tried to change his targeting, it must have reset his movement, and I didn't notice when that happened. M tactical. Keep track of enemy positions. Alright. I guess it's not super useful right now, but I guess like in a bigger fight, there could be way more going on, so you'd have more, you'd need a little help. Whereas right now, like the entire fight can be contained within this one screen. Can we just turn around all the way? Not exactly. Focus fire that dude. I'm not even sure if he was doing damage until now, basically.
We're gonna hammer the frackers until they can't get back up.
Secondary battery.
Pew 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 pew. I mean, if that guy's gonna go away on a vacation, then I'm just gonna double team this guy, and he's gonna have a very unhappy time. And if I keep one of my guys high and one of my guys low, then they're less likely to collide with each other. It seems. There's something kind of neat about how not very hands-on this tutorial currently is in its, well, its handling of me, I mean. It's kind of just letting me tool around now. It's evidently not very easy to rotate to chase somebody.
Firing solution is online.
Oh god, he's coming down. I thought I told him to stay up. Did I goof it? He's not moving very much, is he? Let's have you slow down a bit if we can, but also climb. Yeah. Let's just stay out of range if I can. Seems I'm about to collide.
Yes, sir.
Is it because he's about to fall apart here? See about guided missiles. Will they kill me at this range? I don't know how big they explode. Oh! Oh! They had the same thought that I did.
Manticore is taking damage.
Oh no. Full 44. Full 34. Yeah. Gotta get used to the fact that up and down is always up and down and left and right is always left and right. I keep having this like feel of like trying to move my mouse based on the angle of the screen, but the angle of the screen doesn't actually affect how the controls work. Ah, launchers are reloading. I can try to repair the armory. Oh, he's back. Evasive fucking maneuvers. There we go. Oh boy, player 2 is getting heavily focused. Or dude 2 or whatever. 23, we're making progress here.
Understood.
Launchers are still reloading. They reload for a while. There we go. This is nice, because even if the tutorial takes up the entire video, we have like a decent look at the combat. I'm not constantly reading a tutorial the entire time, we're just getting to play out a scenario. I can dig this. It's not really my kind of game. I don't really have a lot of specific complaints about it. One thing is I just don't have the biggest connection to ships. This carries over to mechs too. Like I just don't care that much about most like boat combat and ship combat and like mech fights and so on. I kind of prefer to have people in both tactical and RPG contexts and just everything really. Those are still reloading. Let's focus this guy because he's right here then. There we go. That said, my favorite tabletop game is probably, well not, well that's competition, they're very different games for different feels, but one of the most sought after experiences is Twilight Imperium. But if we talk about games like this being abstractions of interactions and so on, and how like ship combat is too abstract compared to like people combat, tabletop games come out the other side of being so far abstracted that it never really matters what exactly you're doing in the game. It just matters, like the theme is always just a theme. It's always the tactical choices and like interesting decisions you're being proposed with constantly in the game that are the appeal, more or less. It usually doesn't matter nearly as much what the story context is for a tabletop game, unless it's a game about story, obviously, like, you know, tabletop RPGs. That's just the flaw of dealing with anything as an absolute. Although at its core, Twilight Imperium really is just about 6 government leaders sitting around a table yelling at each other and arguing about things and lying to each other. There just happens to be a bunch of ships on the board in front of them. Can I use missiles yet? Okay. Because it seems really hard to hit this guy at this range. Maybe I could have made early choices that made this a little easier for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Subsystem repairs are complete. Missiles incoming.
I don't know if I have a way of defending against missiles necessarily. Probably like further tutorialization and whatnot. Manticore. We're down to one. We've defeated one of them now. I am kind of just trying to fly at my enemies in a predictive pattern that will put them in my attack range and then attack them, and hoping that that leads to me killing them faster than they can kill me. But I don't really have much experience to base my movement actions on. Maybe I should counter-rotate? He's likely not doing great. Oh, nothing needs healing. It's just his hull damage that's everywhere. And there's many hull damage.
So say we all.
He's already being targeted. Does he have missiles left to fire? He does. Well then, let's do it. I am here for this. My repairs are good. Posture. I think posture refers to how heavily you emphasize defensive or offensive abilities, which does match up with, like, when we were playing Artemis Bridge Simulator, the power station of the crew would sort of determine how much power goes to each different part of the ship. So you could make shields way stronger, or weapons strong, like targeting lasers stronger or something. It was very helpful.
Target acquisition is screwed. Give me manual control now.
Yeah, I never watched, I never really watched Battlestar Galactica. My big exposure to ship and crew sci-fi was definitely TNG.
Understood.
I mean, if we just cruise right past them, then we can shoot them with our back turrets, I guess.
Reloading.
We're definitely winning. One of my ships is basically undamaged. Big attack and big defense. So, increasing attack makes your attack stronger, I guess. Defense makes your defense stronger, like it seems straightforward. But in both cases, your thrusters are weaker. So 0, like evening it out, makes your thrusters the best. So if I'm currently in an attack posture, if I'm currently positioned to attack this person, then I might want to just be in attack mode here. Well, maybe this guy wants to take a defensive posture because his back with the damaged rear is currently facing the enemy. Here comes missiles. Oop, they're targeting the top guy.
Main doors taking damage.
Well, I guess I was right to give you attack and you defense for that turn. That realization came just in time. View replay. Ah, cinematography. This is where they get all their screenshots from for the Steam page. I was confused looking at the Steam page because it said it was turn-based combat, but every single screenshot looked like it was an RTS. Like, they didn't seem to expose the mechanics, which I don't like. I don't really like it when all your screenshots are meant to just look cinematic. I like being able to see the systems, especially if it's a strategy game. But yeah, they definitely, they use this as their promotional material for the game, and it's like, alright, cool, but this is not a third-person, no, that's the almost collision that happened. This is not a third-person ship shooty game like Rogue Squadron. Like, it's not a piloting simulator, and it's also not an RTS, so it's not entirely helpful to use this type of footage to represent the game, because it's just a... It'd be like showing Super Hot and only showing the kill cam that happens when you beat a level. And it's like, But that's not what it's for. Boom, pew pew. Got him. That's a lot of missiles. That's when they came swarming in from the other side of the map, right? That guy. No, I turned towards that guy. They're doing a decent job at recreating like a visual narrative out of what just happened, considering it's unscripted. But it just doesn't have the relative... It doesn't have the relevant, like, dialogue you get from a sci-fi story, because there aren't really characters with stakes right now. You definitely get a better view of what's going on. It just kind of seems cooler.
Target acquisition is screwed. Give me manual control now.
Well, I suppose he's fucked. Completely and utterly fucked, y'all.
Reloading.
Poor sucker never stood a chance. That's a neat feature. Was that a bunch of lights? Huh. I guess that would make sense to have. I just noticed that the Galactica ship that it showed had a bunch of little spotlights that were just designed to only exist just to point at the Galactica logo, which I guess is good, important, because you want to be able to identify ships in space visually if you're trying to figure out who people are and whatnot. Well, that's interesting. That was just one of 3 tutorials, kind of as expected. But that was a decent little preview, so I'm kind of satisfied with that. So if you want to check out Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, a ship combat game that gets increasingly complicated once you learn how to actually play it, I'm sure, link in the description to the Steam page and all that. Thanks for watching like always, guys, and I'll see you next time.